Yeah. Today, shall we start exceptionally? Nine AM batch students are here. Yeah. Today we'll start exception handling. So this is a small chapter. First, we should understand what is exception, why exception, and next, what is exception handling. ఏంటది ఏ కంపెనీ ఫింగర్స్ లేదా లాజిటెక్ అది పనిచేయదు మూవ్ రాయటం రాదు What is exception handling? Next, why exception handling? Next, how can we handle exception? Next, working with try and catch. Awesome. అలా చుట్టొద్దు వైర్లు, అలా చుడితే పాడైపోతాయి. ఇంకెన్నిసార్లు చెప్పినా మీరు అది అలవాటు అయిపోయింది. ఈ మౌస్ వల్ల పైకి కింద తిరుగుతున్నా అంటాడు. Working with try catch and sample programs. Okay, so these are first stage of exception handling topic. Let's complete today. Okay. All right. Tell me, what is an exception? Exception is a runtime error. There are two types of errors are there. Number one, compile time error. Number two, runtime error. Exception is a runtime error. That will come at what time? Compilation time or execution? Execution. Okay. Now, I'm writing one statement here. Main start, main end. Now control 1 compile, control 2 execute. Is there any exception coming? Any compile time error coming? No. Then is no syntax mistakes and there is no runtime mistake. So there is no problem. Program compiled successfully and executed, we got out. Now I am writing something like this. I am writing something like this. Here I am writing 10 by 0. I am dividing an integer number by integer 0. Then what happened? It is a valid or invalid? Invalid. It is a wrong operation. Is this wrong operation identified by compiler software? No. It is identified only by JVM. Syntactically, a integer number can divided by integer 0. No problem. But JVM generates what value? Infinity. Infinity not in the range of int. So now compiler doesn't throw error. JVM will throw exception. Look at that. First statement executed main start. Second statement, we got error. Exception in thread main. Java.lang. Arithmetic exception divided by 0. You cannot divide a integer number by 0. You got exception, arithmetic exception. Is it clear? Yes. So now tell me, what is an exception? An exception is a runtime error occurred during program execution because of wrong inputs or because of wrong logic. Because of wrong inputs or because of wrong logic. And tell me, 10 by 0, here wrong logic or wrong inputs are? No, logic is correct, but the values are wrong. So what is an exception? An exception is a runtime error occurred during program execution because of wrong inputs or wrong logic. Okay. Now, how this exception is represented? Tell me, what is a student? Student is a person. Okay. How the student can be represented in the program? This is a student. How the student can be represented in the program? This is a bank account. How it can be represented in the program? Now this is a car. How the car is represented in the program? By using object of a class. By using instance of one class or object of one class. You create one class called student. From the student we create one object. This object representing the student. One more student I want, one more instance you create and represent, right? So instance of a class represents what? Object. Now tell me, what is an exception? Exception is an error. How this error can be represented in the program? Like a student, every exception is represented by using one class. Okay, from that class we have to create one instance. So what is an exception? A exception is a runtime error. That runtime error is represented by one class object. So now in general, I can say exception is a runtime error. But technically speaking, what is an exception? Exception is an object. Exception is also an object. Object, it is an instance of whom? One class. Who defined that class? I defined, you defined, Sun Microsystem defined. Sun Microsystem defined. We are not defining, Sun Microsystem defined that exception. Okay. How many classes will be there? Tell me. One class will be there for one error. Yes or no? Like this, how many errors are there? There are several errors are there. That means how many classes will be there? There are so many classes will be there. Next. In inheritance chapter, we discussed one point. What is that? If you find multiple classes of same type, you must not create them as individual. You must create them as one group by creating one common superclass. So that we'll have two advantages: code reusability to the subclasses and dynamic binding, loose coupling, and runtime polymorphism to user class. Remember, right? So tell me, when you find multiple errors, to represent each runtime error, we have multiple classes. Will you leave all these classes as individual classes? No. Then you have to create all these classes as a one group, as one subtype. Then who is the superclass of all? Let me ask three questions. Who is the superclass of all persons? Person superclass object. Who is the superclass of all classes? Object. Who is the superclass of all persons? Person. Who is the superclass of all animals? Who is the superclass of all vehicles? Same way. Who is the superclass of all exceptions? Wrong answer. Throwable. Okay, na? Who is the superclass of all classes? Throwable. Why person is the superclass of all persons? Because person. Why all classes? Why all animals superclass is animal? Because animals. Why all exceptions superclass is throwable? Because they are throwable. What are you doing? Exceptions. You are throwing. Okay, na? Correct. Who is the superclass of all exceptions? Throwable. Why? Because what are you doing exceptions? You are throwing. They are meant for throwing. That's why they are called what? Throwable. Speakable, listenable, okay, no, knowledgeable, right? So all ends with what? Billable, right? So same way throwable, because they are meant for throwing. Throwable is a noun form, right? That's why. So finally tell me, what is an exception? Two definitions you have to tell. An exception is a runtime error occurred during program execution because of wrong input or wrong logic. Okay. Next, what is the technical definition of exception? An exception is a object which is an instance of throwable or one of its subclasses. Tell me, 10 by 0 is an exception of whom? Arithmetic exception class. Arithmetic exception class. Arithmetic exception class is a subclass of what? Throwable. Tell me, will you create object of animal? No. Will create object of animal subtypes. Will you create object of vehicle? No. Vehicle subclasses. Always we create superclass not for creating object, only for creating reference variable for holding the subclass objects for achieving loose coupling. Similarly, throwable is superclass not for creating throwable class object. It is meant for what? Only to create reference variable to hold subclass object. So what is an exception? Exception is an object which is an instance of throwable or one of its subclasses. Is it clear to all? Right. Then tell me, what happens when exception is raised? When exception is raised, program execution is terminated abnormally. Okay, what the meaning of program execution terminated abnormally? Tell me, first statement executed successfully, main start message displayed on console. Then next statement here, what happened? Exception is raised. When exception is raised, then next lines of code executed or not executed? Why next lines are not executing? Generally, we will write the third statement depending on the value generated on first statement. Second statement, okay? First and second statements are completed successfully, then only we have to go forward. Third statement. Correct only, na? Right? Now, if second statement execution is failed, that means wrong results are generated. With the wrong results, if the next lines are executed, then again you will get wrong results, na? So whenever something is a problem occurred, what should happen? Program execution should be terminated. Can I say an exception is a signal to the JVM to terminate the program abnormally? We are telling to the JVM, JVM, some abnormal condition occurred here, wrong results are coming here, please terminate my program. So what happened when exception is raised? When exception is raised, program execution is terminated. Abnormally means the statements placed after exception causing statements are not executed, but before statements are executed. Control 1 compile and control 2. Look at the main start message is coming, but after exception causing statement, next statements are executed or not executed? Not executed. Hope you all understand up to now. Okay, next question. Very, very interesting question. Why exception? Everyone cover what is exception. Everyone cover what happened when exception is raised. But no one cover why exception. Tell me why exception. Oh, to avoid. Why exception and logic you are saying, man? What? Avoiding wrong logic. How exception can avoid wrong logic, man? Exception coming because of wrong logic, not to avoid wrong logic. Huh? I am not asking when exception will come. Exception will come when wrong logic is developed. I am asking question, why exception in the program? What is the need of exception? Sorry? To achieve runtime error, you use exception. For dying and swallow poison, you are saying. Why poison? So, come on, tell me, why exception? Accurate results. How exception give you accurate result, man? Understanding the end user. How end user can understand this message? How end user can understand that message? Who will write? How? By using try catch. I am asking question, why exception? I am not asking what the purpose of try catch. That is exception handling. What your people are saying, that is exception handling. Catching exception, displaying message to the user, that is exception handling. What is the purpose of exception? To exception, how can you overcome runtime error? Exception is meant for terminating the program. When wrong values or wrong logic is developed. Understand? Everybody feeling that exception is meant for stop terminating program, avoid terminating program, catching exception and displaying wrong value, error message. This is called what you are thinking, that is exception handling. So people have confusion between exception and exception handling and not getting proper clarity. What is exception? Runtime error. It is an object of one class. Why exception? To terminate the program when wrong results are passed or wrong logic is developed for not generating wrong results. Understand my point? Exception is not meant for not stopping program termination. It is meant for terminating the program. I want to terminate the program when wrong values or wrong logic is there. So, very interesting point. Go and ask your friends, why exception? For handling, that is exception handling. What is why exception? Exception is meant for terminating the program execution when wrong inputs or wrong values are occurred. What happens when exception rise? Program is terminated abnormally. If a program execution is terminated abnormally because of wrong values or wrong logic, previously happened all the given inputs and transactions also in middle terminated. For example, let me take one small scenario. For example, I want to recharge my mobile. When I'm recharging my mobile, I have entered amount correctly. Okay, I selected one plan. Okay, I entered my mobile number correctly. I selected the plan also correctly, and then click on proceed to recharge. Then next page, it is asking my bank details. I gave wrong bank details. Can you deduct the money from the account? No. Yeah, bank account details also I gave correctly. Then 400 or 599, whatever, it is deducted from my account. 599 deducted from my account. And now this 599 should add to my mobile account. Then now Paytm, let me take. Paytm website contacted my bank. 599 deducted from my account, taken that money to Paytm. Now the Paytm has to add this 599 to my mobile account. Then is trying to access my mobile account. Remember? Then there is one screen will be there. Don't refresh or don't close. Did you see? When you are doing any transaction, you will get don't refresh or don't close. Due to some reason, that window is closed. Or some network issue came. Then tell me, what happened here? Wrong logic or wrong inputs are occurred or not? Then program execution is terminated abnormally. If a program execution terminated abnormally, the 599 rupees deducted from my account. Gayana? So tell me, exception is good or bad? Good. Exception is good. If you leave that exception as it is, problem. Are you catching my point? Always you have to have a mindset. Maybe there is a chance we'll get exception. If exception occurred, what is the alternative logic I should execute? Are you catching my point? Exception compulsory should come because you terminate the program there. When problem occurred, we have to terminate. But when terminating means when exception occurred, before terminating, I have to take some alternative logic. So now the Paytm is trying to access mobile network. Mobile website is not accessible, unable to recharge, then failed. When it is failed, it should not silently terminate. It should go to alternative flow. What is the alternative flow? One message should display to the user, unable to recharge your mobile. Your money will be added back to your account in 1 week. Yes or no? You have seen that message, na? Tell me. Now that message, by seeing that message, you are happy. My 599 is not lost. That alternative logic execution is nothing but what? Exception handling. If this exception occurred, what is the alternative logic I should execute? This is the alternative flow. Either displaying just error message or adding that money back to your account immediately and then displaying message. Whatever the logic you want to execute, that is called what? Exception handling. Exception is meant for terminating the program. Exception handling is meant for stop terminating the program execution abnormally and executing alternative logic. That alternative logic may be some other business logic or just display error message to the user for the reason for this exception. Hope you all understand now. So, hope got clarity difference between exception handling. Right. Now tell me now, here the program execution terminated abnormally. I don't want. I want to stop the exception terminating abnormally. Even though exception raised there, I want to run down line. If you want to execute next lines of the code, even though exception is raised, I must handle that exception. What I should do? I must handle that exception. There are two ways to handle exception. For example, some mistake in the school. Definitely you should punish. Then there are two ways of punishments. Number one, teacher will punish you in the school itself or give the complaint to your parents, asking the parents to punish. Some punishments directly teacher will give you, asking, stand up, go to the corner, okay, lay down on the wall or something. Some punishments, God could say that is this, so a lot of things will be there. In my childhood, I go to and stand in outside. Kale banlang nuncho, mokala nuncho. Very abbasla. Wonderful torture will be there in my school level. Okay, turn your hand and beat here. Okay, sadist mentality. A lot of things will be there at that time, right? But now you are lucky people. Teacher should not punish the children. If teacher punishing, then police will punish. Okay, now forget about teacher. Parents also cannot punish. You know, in India, we have not that much rules strictly applying. If you go to abroad, you know, kids are directly calling 100. My mom beating today. Avuna, aithe 1 minute I am coming. Put in jail. Okay. So, you know, that much freedom there to punish parents also. That's why parents in foreign requesting, no, don't do that, no. Okay. Nicely requesting. That's good actually. Some level it is good, some level it is not good. Depends. Come back to the story now. So now, parent, you know, teacher is giving complaint to the parents or giving the punishment. So now, here you are a main method developer. In main method, I got this exception. Okay. Now, this exception can handle by main method itself, or it can also tell to JVM to handle. I don't handle, you handle. I am writing my own method called div method. Okay. Now this div method calling from the main method. Now you can handle that exception in the div method directly, or you can ask the main method, means div method caller. The method caller also you can ask, you handle, I don't handle. Once the exception raised inside a method, that exception can be handled by the same method developer, or also can be handled by this method caller. If this method developer want to handle the exception by the developer itself, then he has to use try catch. What should he use? Try catch. Okay. If you want ask, now the method developer, method caller, you handle exception, I don't handle, then you should use what? Throws. So we can handle exception in two ways, either by reporting the exception to the method caller or by directly catching that exception. There are two ways to handle exception. Is it clear my point? Then now what is exception handling? Why exception handling? How can we handle exception? What is exception handling? The process of catching or reporting the exception is called what? Exception handling. The process of catching or reporting exception is called exception handling. Point number 2. Why exception handling? Exception handling is meant for stop terminating program execution abnormally when an exception is raised. When an exception is raised, if you want to stop program execution abnormally, if you want to terminate the program execution abnormally, if you want stop terminating program abnormally, we should go for exception handling. How many ways we can handle exception? Two ways. Number 1, using try catch. Number 2, by using throws keyword. Using try catch, we are catching the exception and suppress the exception and running the next lines of the code available in the method. By using throws keyword, we are reporting the exception to the method caller. That means your method execution terminated or not? Yes or no? Your method execution is terminated and that exception I am handovering to method caller. Then method caller will catch the exception and he will stop terminating the program. Clear my point? Tell me. Now Paytm is trying to contact whom now? Mobile website. Now the mobile website unable to connect. Then mobile website is throwing exception. That means where the exception is raised? In mobile website. Now is mobile website catching the exception? No. It is throwing. Means that exception is reported to whom now? Paytm. Tell me. Mobile network is terminated. Paytm is terminated? No. Why? Because Paytm is catching that exception, and in the catch block, now he has written the logic of returning that amount to your bank and displaying the error message to the end user on the screen. Hello, are you catching my point? So, how many ways we can handle exception? Two ways. Number 1, by using try catch. Number 2, by using throws keyword. Using try catch, we will catch exception, suppress that exception. Next lines of the code of our method executing. Is our method terminated abnormally? No. By using throws keyword, we are allowing our method to terminate abnormally and sending that exception to whom now? Method caller. Now the method caller will take care of catching that exception or whatever you want, he will do. Is it clear now? Right. So please answer all these questions and then we'll go for working with the try catch. So what is an exception? An exception is a runtime error occurred during program execution because of wrong inputs or wrong logic. Number 2, why exception? Exception is meant for terminating the program execution when wrong inputs are passed or wrong logic is developed. Next, what will happen when an exception is raised? When exception is raised, program execution is terminated abnormally. Very important. When program execution terminated abnormally, background exception object is created or not? What is an exception? Exception is an object of one class. What will happen when exception is raised? When an exception is raised, JVM performs totally 3 operations. Number 1, it identifies the matched exception class of this error. Inside JVM, for every runtime error, there is a one matching class. Arithmetic exception, division by 0, arithmetic exception. Array index problem, array index out of bounds exception. Parsing problem, number format exception. Casting problem, class cast exception. Dot operator null problem, null pointer exception. Okay. Now I'm accessing the file is not available, file not found exception. I'm trying to load the class into JVM, the class is not available, class not found exception. I call a method in its own body, recursively it executing. Stack overflow error. Stack overflow error. Now I'm creating objects, infinite number of objects. At some point of the time, heap array is a field and we got exception. That is what? Out of memory error. For every runtime mistake, there is a matching one exception class that is known to JVM. Are you catching my point? Right. So when we when an exception is occurred in the program, first step, JVM finds the matching exception class of this error. Number 2, it creates exception class. It creates that exception class object with the proper error message. Exception class object is created with the proper error message. Did you see java.lang.arithmetic exception : space divided by 0? That divided by 0 is what? Error message. Okay. Java.lang.arithmetic exception is class object, and then following by divided by 0 or what? Error message. So it creates exception object and then with the proper error message, and then terminates program execution by throwing this exception object. Is that exception object, are you catching in your method? No. Then it will send to whom now? Caller of this method. Who is the caller of main method? JVM. Then JVM receives that exception and terminates the program by displaying complete error message. All are coming with me? Yes. Am I going fast? No. Is it clear to all? Right. So repeating once again. What happens when exception is raised? Totally 4 activities will done by background JVM. Top level answer is what? Exception. When exception program execution is terminated. It just blindly terminated? No. Background is doing one step. What is that? Number 1, finding the matched exception class for this error. Number 2, creates that exception class object with error message. And 3, terminate the program and terminate complete program or terminates the current method. It terminates the current method execution and throws this exception to the method caller. If there is no method caller, directly JVM only take that exception and display error message on console. So this is what happened. Now I have a question. When an exception is raised in the program execution terminated abnormally. I don't want to terminate my program abnormally completely. I want to terminate that method, but the method caller, I don't want to terminate. I want to display the proper error message to the user. For that, I should handle that exception. If you want to handle exception, I have to use some special keywords. How many ways we can handle exception? 2 ways. Either by reporting or by catching. I myself want to take further decisions, alternative logic execution. Then you yourself catch. No, I don't take anything. You give me values. If success value, I will return. If failure value, I'll throw exception. That's it. I am not taking any further decision. Then I have to throw the exception to the method caller. Method caller will catch that exception and execute alternative logic. So there are 2 ways of handling exception. So what is an exception handling? The process of catching or reporting an exception is called what? Exception handling. How can we, why I should handle exception? We will handle exception for stop terminating the program execution and displaying proper user message, proper error message to the end user to take further decisions to pass correct values. Repeating once again, why exception handling? Exception handling is meant for stop terminating stop terminating program execution abnormally and displaying proper message to the end user. Okay, so that by seeing that error message, end user will take the proper decisions to pass. Next, how can we handle exception? We can handle exception in two ways, by reporting or by catch. Generally, people will not say reporting. General people say throwing. Throwing is wrong answer. By reporting, we are reporting. Arre Baba, I am not catching, you only catch. Working with a try catch. How can I catch exception? By using try catch. It's a very small bougie syntax. Okay. Working with the try catch. Working with the try catch means what? You should know a small syntax. That's it. Syntax for using try catch. And look at here. Which line is a throwing exception? You should know first. Tell me which line throwing exception? This line. Okay. This line we should surround with a try catch. Try, open bracket, closed bracket. Try is meant for placing exception causing statements. What the statement? The statement is what? Exception causing statement. You want high-tech city terminology or Amirpet terminology? I'm Amirpet also, you should. Dangerous code. What? Dangerous code. Yeah. Okay. So if you have any dangerous code is coming on murder, yeah? He is a dangerous person and he is killing you, right? Dangerous code and the risky code. Another word also there, yeah, forgot. Okay. So people are inventing wonderful words to make you understand the subject. Baba, please don't use those words in the interim, okay? If we say dangerous code, if you have in the program, dangerous enter nahi bonda, okay? Risky code, fatal code, false code. What is that? Enemy code, ghost code, yeah. So please don't use those words. Those are okay, maybe synonyms, but not good to use as an experienced person. So what code you have to call it as? Exception causing statement. It is causing an exception. It is raising one exception. Okay. Exception causing statement. Tell me, when an exception raised, is this line can execute? Right. Think and tell me. Is there any link between this line to that line? Is this statement depending on that exception causing statement? Is the system.out.println main end? Okay. This system.out.println main end message is anywhere related to 10 by 0? No. Is it using 10 by 0 result here? No. Then both statements are what type of statement? They are independent statements. When an exception raised here, no need to stop running this line. It can go and run, not a problem. Then in that case, this is called independent statement. For example, this is 10 by 0 result I am using in the next line of the code. Then it is called independent statement or dependent statement? Dependent. Then dependent statement should write outside of the try or in try only? In try. If first statement execute, second statement. If first statement fail, don't execute second statement. Understand my point? Right. So what type of statements I should place inside try? Exception causing statements and their dependent statements I have to place inside try block. Okay. Then following by, I should write what? Catch. Okay. You can write this bracket down also, no problem. Okay. And you can write catch also down like this also. You can write. So if you write like this, you will be called Amirpet product. Understand? It is Amirpet style, and now this is high-tech city project development style. So slowly try to change your style. Now open bracket always should be in the same line. Then here, what exception coming here? Tell me. When an exception raised, what JVM will do? JVM identify the matching exception class. Create its object. Which class object it is now? Arithmetic exception object with the error message division by 0 with object reference what? 10. When an exception rises in the program, JVM creates exception object. Now this object, what it has to do? I inform to JVM, array JVM, once you create the object, let me try to catch. Let me try to catch. If you want to catch, what the meaning of catch, man? Taking into your hands. You have to take into your hands. Tell me, add method is there, na? Add method is having a parameter int a. Why parameter there? Why add method has a parameter? I want to receive the input. One input I want to receive. That's why parameter. And tell me, catch is also want to receive, no? What it want to receive? Exception. Which type of exception? Arithmetic exception. Whichever rising in the try block, that exception should come. Following? You want to take int type of value. What you have written? Just int. Int is a data type. Are you catching my point? Int is a data type. Following, you have created variable name to store that value, na? Similarly, you want to catch exception means just to exception class name write enough or variable name also. Variable name also you have to write. Here you have to create a parameter of what type parameter, which exception rising, that exception. What is that? Arithmetic exception E. So why E? Any name you can take, X, Y, Z, anything you can write, man. Exception, shortcut E. Example E, sample yes, student yes, employee EMP, a bank account ACC. Like that, arithmetic exception E. Tell me, now once a JVM has created this exception object, it will send this exception object to your catch block. Sending exception object to catch block is nothing but passing that object reference only, na? The reference is coming here and stored in the E variable pointing to it. Samajh mein aaya? Once the exception rise in the program is called, control come out of the catch block. Program execution, normal flow na, abnormal flow na? Normal flow. That means next line will be executed. Clear? Now let me run this program to understand it. Control 1, compile, save this program with the name test02. Compile successfully, executed. Look at their main start and main end. Now the question. If an exception is raised, you have written try catch to take the alternative flow of execution. That means inside catch block, I have to write logic. Tell me, this logic is, what logic it is? Is it a exception causing logic or exception handling logic? Inside try block, we will write exception causing statement. Inside catch block, we will write exception. What the meaning of exception handling? Maybe information about that exception you are displaying or taking alternative path of logic execution. Here, I don't have any alternative flow of execution. Just I want to display the error message of that exception. System.out.println. Now you have two options are there. Now, you want to read and display the exception error message available in the exception object, or you want to display your own error message. Two options we have. Okay, na? Sometimes I have to read and display the error message available in the exception object. Some other time I can ignore that exception object fully and I can display my own message. So let me write here my own message. How to read exception error message we'll see later. Double quotes. I'm ignoring that exception. I'm writing my own message. Don't divide by 0. Control 1. Control 2. So we are getting error message don't divided by 0 and the next line is executed or not? Yes. So in this program, we handle exception by catching. When you catch exception, program terminated abnormally or normally? Normal. Exception is suppressed and program execution will go normally. I have a question. Think and tell me. If I write some statement here in the try block, I am writing some statement. System.out.println double quotes try start. I am writing try end. What is the output? Try start. Try end. Try end will come or will not come? Will not come. Why? Once a exception is raised here, downlines are executed or not executed? Not executed. How long? How long it will not execute? Till end of the method or till we catch? Up to end of the try block, the statements are not executed. And then From here, directly control will go to where? Catch. Then catch logic is executed. After catch logic executed, it will come back to try. It will come back to try, and then try and message is displayed. Yes or no? Some intelligent people are following like that. Once a control come down, it will not go to previous line. Okay. After catch block execution completed, it will go down to the end of the method. So while going to the end of the method, next statement is executed, end of the method, end of the class coming out. Hope you all understand the flow of execution. So we completed exception handling. Again, who is saying no, Rava? What else remaining, Rava? Yeah. Exception handling with try catch is completed. Exception handling with throws is required to learn. First, let us try to do some more experiment on here. Okay. So everyone, can I expect what is happening background exception handling? Understood? Yes. Write on one program. Develop a program. Develop a program to read two integers from command line. Develop a program to read two integers from command line. To read two integers from command line. Divide first number by second number. Divide first number by second number. Display result on console. Display result on console. Display result on console. And tell me, is there any difficulty? Any tough topic is smooth or not? Already known topics only, right? There is no difficulty. Now write on that. No exception handling in this program. Simple. How many lines will come? 4. All the people know command line arguments program, right? What written? Int a equal to parseInt of args of 0, args of 1. Small program, right? So simple program. Go to command line arguments program should run from command line. Not Kava C. Java C. Test 03. Java test 0. Why I got this exception? Tell me. Now, with this chapter knowledge, can you ask why exception coming? That word should come to your mind. Hey, why exception coming? Okay, what exception is coming? Where you can find what is the exception? Java.lang.array index out of bounds exception is a exception. It is an object of which class? This class. Next, why exception coming? Reason for the exception. Error message. Index 0 out of bounds for the length 0. So array length is what? 0. When array length is 0, do you have any elements inside array? No. Then 0 index will not be there. Samajh mein aaya? Now, from this knowledge, you should realize one important point. What is that? When we are writing program, means when you are writing logic, every statement, at every statement, you should ask one question yourself. Is there any chance we get exception at this line number? Java means object-oriented program. Object-oriented programming means definitely there are chance to get exceptions. So you should ask yourself, at this line number, is there any chance we'll get exception? If there is a chance we'll get exception, then you should handle it. How to handle? By try catch or by using throws keyword. It is a main method. If you write throws keyword, who will catch? No one. So you should only catch it. Next, what are the maximum errors will come here? You should identify. Arcs of 0, arcs of 1 will throw array index out of bounds exception. I am giving AB, number format exception. Next exception coming what? Number format exception. Reserve for the exception for the input string, double quotes A. So from this program, we have a chance of getting how many exceptions? 3 exceptions. Number 1, array index. Number 2, number format. Number 3, arithmetic exception. Save it. Control 1, compile, and come here, clear screen. I am giving the value 10 and 0. Okay, na? Everyone understand? So tell me, how can we handle these exceptions? By using try catch. Right? Rewrite above program. Rewrite above program. To catch the exceptions, occurred from that program, and display user understandable messages. Display user understandable messages. And display user understandable messages. And tell me, what the syntax to catch exception? Try. Okay. And inside try, I have to place exception causing statement. It is a exception causing. It is also exception causing. It is also exception causing. It is exception not causing, but it is depending on previous statement. If all 3 statements are executed successfully, then only we have to run this statement. That means all statements I have to place inside try now. Following by catch. Tell me, how many catch blocks I should write? A try can have how many catch blocks? 1 or more than 1? More than 1. Why? As many exceptions are coming, those many exceptions I should catch. A catch block must be a 1 parameter catch block or multiple parameters. 1 parameter only, because from a try block, how many exceptions at a time can rise? 1. If write multiple parameters, multiple exceptions should come. Na? If I write add of int a comma, int b comma, int c, how many arguments I have to pass? 3. Tell me, like that, can I write first exception comma, second exception comma, third exception? No, because from a method only 1 exception can come at a time. Once an exception rise, down statements are executed, no, terminated. So a catch block has how many parameters? 1. Now, which exception coming? Arithmetic. Array index. Array index. Out of bounds exception E. Here I should write a message. Tell me, what is the message you want to tell to the user to correct his mistake? Come on. What message you will tell to the user now to solve this array index out of bounds exception problem? You have to display message, na? What? Error. How to solve that error? Pass. How many values? Pass at least 2 integers. Okay, pass at least 2 integers. Pass at least 2 integers. Okay, next. One more catch block. Now, which exception you want to handle now? Number format exception. What message you ought to give to him? Pass only integers. Pass only integers. And then third, catch of arithmetic exception. What message I should display? Pass or don't pass? Do not pass 0 as second value. Hello, all you understand? So what messages I should display to the user to solve those errors? That messages I have to display from catch blocks. Save it. Test 04. Go to command prompt. Clear screen. Java C. Test 04. Java test 0. Run. Pass at least 2 integers. Okay. Then I'm giving A, B. What exception will come now? Pass only integers. Number format exception. I'm giving here 10, 0. Don't pass 0 as second value. Next, I'm giving 2. No value. No exception. Args of 0 converted 10. Args of 1 converted to 2. 10 by 2 what? 5. Stored in C, SOPL and display that result. So tell me, if I write try catch, compulsory catch block executed? No. Catch block is executed only when exception is rise. Understood, I hope? Yes. Respond. Exception handling, very easy topic and very important for the interview. Completed? Where? Head or neck. Between if I place on a knife, when the blood will be flow, when how the food will be flow. Tell me. Allowed or not allowed? Not. Compile them. You should not connect the link between try and catch. No. If you place one statement between try and catch, the link between try and catch is gone. Okay. If else, if you write a statement between if and else, same error. Here also same error. Done. Now my question. Is it the rule you must place this catch block first and then number format exception second? Is there any rule as such? No. You can place any catch block in any order. But there is a rule. Okay, na? You cannot place catch block however you like. There is a one rule. You no need to write catch blocks based on the exception rising in the program. Again repeating. You no need to write exceptions order, catch blocks exception order. In the order they are rising from the try block. Okay, na? But based on the superclass, subclass, there is a rule that we'll discuss in the next topic. Okay? Up to now, all you people understood? Okay. Now, I have a question. All you answer. What is the use of try? For identifying exception causing or not. What is the use of catch? For catching the exception coming from the try. Again repeating. What the use of try? Try is used for identifying exception coming from a statement. Means inside try we must place exception causing statements. What the use of catch? Catch is used for catching the exceptions coming from try. Okay. Along with the try and catch, we also have another special keyword called what? Finally. Okay. So totally, how many keywords are working under catching order? 3. Try, catch, finally. So what is the use of try? Try is used for placing the statements which are causing exception. For identifying exception coming. What the use of catch? Catch is used for catching the exception and taking proper actions against that exception for handling that exception. Okay, then what the use of finally? Finally is also meant for placing some statements. Then are these statements are exception causing statements? No. Are these statements are exception handling statements? No. Then what these statements are? Compulsory execution statements. When I want to execute some statements compulsory when class is loaded into JVM. Where I should place those statements? I want to execute some statements compulsory when class is loaded into JVM, static block. I want to execute some statements compulsory when object is created, non-static block, not constructor. If I place that statement inside a constructor, what is the guarantee object created by using this constructor? Maybe overloaded constructors are there. Programmer may create object by using another constructor where you have not placed the logic now. I want to execute some statement compulsory when class loaded into JVM. Write that logic inside static block. I want to execute some statements compulsory when object is created. I should place the statement inside non-static block. Now, I want to execute some statement compulsory when control come out of the try block. Okay, when a control come out of the try block, I want to execute some statements compulsory. Then those statements I should place inside finally. So finally block is meant for placing some statements for executing compulsory. Then when control come out of the try block. Now the question, sir, control come out of the try block maybe normally without exception? Yes or no? Without exception may come or with exception may come. Then when finally executed, compulsory all time. Without exception, directly go to finally and execute. With exception, go to catch block, then come out of the catch block to final. Understand my point? So if you want to execute some statements compulsory, when control come out of the try block, those statements I have to place inside finally block. Can you give me some examples? Tomorrow I'll give you. Okay, I don't want to talk more details about final. Finally has a separate discussion, 4 hours discussion there. Only for finally we have 4 hours discussion, that is next class. At this minute, I want you understand just what is the purpose of finally. Examples and flow of execution I am not going to touch now. Just I wanted to use try catch finally, that's why I am taking. Tell me, what is the order of placing try catch finally? Can I place try catch finally in any order? No. First, exception causing statements, next exception handling statements, and last compulsory execution statements must be there. Means try following by what? Catch. Then finally, this is the order I have to place. And here I should place what? Exception E. There is a predefined class called what? Exception also. But it is not a super class. Okay, try catch finally. Okay, understand the first point? Right. Based on this, now I want to ask one question. Ready? Rules while working with the try catch. You understood how to work with the try catch. We understand example also. Understand the flow of execution. So try statements are always executed. Catch statements are executed only when exception is raised. So that's simple. Okay. Now the next story very important. Rules while working with the try catch. Can I place only try? Can I place only try? No catch, no finally. Only try have placed. Allowed or not allowed? Why not allowed? What is the purpose of try? Identify exceptions to catch. When there is no catch, what is the purpose of try? Or I want to execute some statements compulsory when exception rise. Then try final. I want to execute some statements compulsory, try final. I want to execute, exception handling statement, try catch finally. Okay. So only try, compiler throw error. Try without catch finally or resource declaration. Try without catch finally or resource declaration. The resource declaration is a Java 7 new feature that we'll discuss end of the chapter. So only try. Allowed or not allowed? Not allowed. Okay. This is the rule number 1. Commenting. Next, rule number 2. Yes, sir. I'm writing only catch. What is the purpose of catch? For catching the exception that is coming from the try. When there is no try, who will send the exceptions to the catch block? Only catch, not allowed. Guess what the error? If you write try without catch, if you write catch without try, catch without try. Okay. Next, rule number 3. I am writing only final. Allowed or not allowed? Allowed. Allowed. Finally is used for executing some statements compulsory when control come out of try. That means finally meant for running the statements for a try. When there is no try, what is the purpose of finally? What the compile time error? Finally without catch, finally without try. Finally without try. Try is associated to, sorry, finally is associated to try. समझ में आया? I'm writing only try and catch. Allowed? I'm writing only try and catch. Allowed? Finally, I'm not placing. No problem? Allowed. I'm writing try and only finally. Allowed or not allowed? Allowed. Why not allowed? I don't want catch exception. I want execute some state. For executing some statements compulsory. I want terminate. Before terminating, I want execute some statements compulsory. This is what? Exception rise, catch it, terminate, normal. Exception right, don't catch. But execute compulsory some statements and terminate. So, try finally is also allowed. So what is the purpose? Just to follow the purpose. What is the purpose? Exception rise, catch. Terminate normal. Exception rise, don't catch. Execute some statements compulsory and terminate abnormally. My target is these statements always must execute. Then we should go forward. Try final. Try final is also allowed. Now, if you want to place all three, what is the order? Try. What order I have to place? Try, catch, finally. So what the meaning of the statement now? If exception rise, catch it, execute some statements compulsory and continue flow of execution further. And tell me, will finally can catch exception? No. That means try finally if you write, if exception rise, program terminated normally, abnormally, abnormal. If I write catch, then only program terminated normally. Hello? I want to place try, catch, finally all three. Then what is the order we should place? Try, catch, then finally. You cannot place try, finally, catch. Finally must be always last. Then here, which line will get error? Means compiler throw error to the try, finally, catch. Guess, everyone. Number 26, error will come to catch. Finally. Final. Error will come to finally. Try with finally. Finally with try. Who are you? Understand? These two are associated, but catch doesn't have association. Line number 26 will get error. Catch without try. Hope you all understand? Yes. Next. What the rule number 4? We can place try, catch, finally all three, but the order is try, catch, finally. Finally must be always last. If you write finally first and then catch next, error will come to catch, not to final. Can I place multiple catch blocks? Yes. Arithmetic exception. Number format exception. Allowed? Yes. One try, multiple catches, one final. Allowed. Okay, na? Error. Can I place multiple finalists? Finally. Huh? Finally, and you give again and again warning. Only one word. Finally. 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 No, right? These many times you don't say finally, finally. Finally, and what time only you have to say. So, can I place finally block multiple times? No. We can place only one try, multiple catches, one finally. That also must be at last in the list. Jumping vaya, jumping. Achava? Mutahir Khan, my dear confusion master. If exception not rise, catch block is not executed. It ignore and go to finally. High jump, long jump, you know. Childhood. Hidden high jumps. JVM also doing a high jump. From try, directly jumping to what? Final. Babu, understand up to now? Yes, sir. I am writing try catch finally only. Any error? No. In between I am writing some variable or some SOPLN statement I have written. Allowed or not allowed? Have you ever seen lovers are holding the hands and going on the road? Sina? You have a lover? Good. Okay. When lovers are holding the hands and going on the road, they are talking something and going. One rude fellow, jealous fellow who don't have a lover, okay, and going backside and throwing both the people side like this and going in the middle, smiling. Okay. Understand our visualizing? Right. Now, here who has suffered? The person who thrown or the lovers? Lovers. Here lover is try catch. Okay. Try catch is a lover and in the middle you dirty fellows are coming. What happened? The hand connection between try and catch and finally got disturbed. Association is gone. Tell me, who will get problem? Int A, SOP, try catch finally. Compiler throw error to try catch finally. Try without catch, catch without try, finally without try. Understand my point? Right. It's very, very important. People are confusing. Interview will ask a question. At what line number you got error? Line number I will ask. Okay. So then you have to choose the errors for try, catch, final. Can I write a statement between try and catch? No. If you write compiler throw error, not to do the statement, error to try and catch. Okay, these are the rules on try catch finally. So rule number 1 is what? We cannot place only try. We cannot place only catch. We cannot place only finally. We can place try catch, try finally, try catch finally. But we cannot place try finally catch. We can place try with multiple catches, but we cannot place multiple finalies. Between the try catch finally, we cannot place any statement. Tell me. Try, open bracket, close bracket, catch of string S. Allowed? Catch is meant for catching. Is a string an exception? How can I say? Is vehicle an animal? How can you say? I know. Yeah, what a call running? No, don't know. Who is caring about don't know? I want proofs. Animal is not a vehicle, is not an animal. Animal is not a vehicle. How can I say in real world? By seeing the structure. But in the programming world, how? It is not subtype. So if you create bus extends animal, yeah, bus is now animal. Are you following? If you write lion extends vehicle, lion is a vehicle now. You don't create one object as a subtype of another type of object, then compiler knows this is not vehicle, that is not animal. Same way, here, who is the superclass of all exceptions? Throwable. What type is allowed as a catch type? throwable or one of its subclasses. If I write string, yes, compiler throw error. What the error? Incompatible types, string cannot be converted to throwable. Understand my point? So what is the catch parameter? Catch parameter type must be throwable or one of its subclasses. Samajh mein aaya? Right. So catch parameter also you understood. Super. Now tell me. This is main clause. Now this is class clause. Now here I am wherein here I am typing something here. That means this scope is what? Method scope or class scope? Class scope. Inside class I am writing try catch of. Let me copy paste. Now tell me, allowed? Can I place a try catch inside a class? Yes or no? Yes sir. What the purpose of try catch? No. What is the purpose of try catch? And you only said, yes, allowed. What is the purpose of try catch? Not allowed. Why not allowed? How dare you to change your answer? Allowed, Babu. Tell me. Interview ask a question. If you say allowed, then he asks, okay, what is the purpose of try catch? Bolo. Hey, try catch meant for what? For handling. There are two ways of handling, Ravai. మా ఊళ్ళో ఒక మాట అంటారు తెలుసా, సోది చెప్పకంటారు తెలుసా, తెలియనా? డైరెక్ట్ పాయింట్ చెప్పండి, గుండ్రంగా తిరుగుతూ ఉంటే ఏమంటాం తెలుసా, సోది చెప్పకరా అంటాం. ట్రై క్యాచ్ ఎందుకు? ఎక్సెప్షనే హ్యాండిల్ చేయడానికి కాదు. There are two ways of handling. Reporting handling is there, catching handling is there. Mummy. Try catch is used for what? అందుకే చూడకూడదు అట్లా. దాని నుంచి చూస్తా ఉన్న బోర్డుని ఒక్క మాట కూడా మాట్లాడుకుంటా ఏమొస్తుంది ఇంకా బూడిదే. ట్రై క్యాచ్ ఈజ్ మెంట్ ఫర్ వాట్? బాబు చెప్పండి. Try catch is used for try catch is meant for what? Online students, what is the purpose of try catch? Thanks Babu. Avala Sai Krishna, at least one student there understood. All your answers are correct. Okay? All people given answers are correct. But wrong. You are telling by try catch, what can I do? After try catch execution, what can I do? You are saying, I am not asking this. What the purpose of try catch? For catching the exception coming from the try block. For catching the exception rising in the program. Why are you catching exception? To stop abnormal termination and display error message to the user. Minimum common sense also not. What the use of try catch? Answer. For catching the exception that is rising in the method or rising from the logic. Why you are catching? For stop terminating program abnormally and to display some error message to the user. Okay na? Everything I should type, then only you will understand. And exception will take 1 month. If I type, then only you will remember the statements. Now I will not apply common sense. Try catch is meant for what? Catch meant for what? Catch meant for what? Answer there in the question here. Catching. So wandering through town or this one. Going round. But main word you are missing. Try catch is meant for trying to catch. The words itself are trying to catch the exception coming from the program. Now tell me, am I allowed to write try catch in the class? Why no? Try catch is meant for catching the exception coming from the logic. Where we can write logic? Inside method. Can I write logic inside a class? No. Then try catch allowed to write inside a class? No. Compiler throw error. Illegal start of expression. Illegal start of type, sorry. Illegal start of type. So only data type is allowed inside the class. So try catch is meant for catching the exception that is rising from the logic. So try catch is allowed only inside a method, not allowed inside a class. These are the total 8 rules. Tell me. Now I am writing one method here. Allowed? Well, inside I am writing try catch. Allowed? So why I am writing try catch inside this method? For catching the exception coming inside this M1 method logic. Can I write multiple try catches? Try catch, again try catch, again try catch. Allowed or not allowed? Allowed. If I write multiple try catch, what the meaning of it? Here I am writing some statement. These statements are not causing any exception. When a statement not causing exception, why should I write inside try catch? Not required. Okay. And now here I am writing some more statements. These statements are not causing any exception. Again the statements I am writing here causing exception. Then again I have to place inside where? Try catch. Which is statement causing exception? You want to catch exception of that statement, then there you write what? Try catch. So there is no rule that for one method, one try catch only allowed. For one method, you can write multiple try catches. Wherever exception you want to catch, which is statement exception you want to catch, that statement write surrounding with what? Try catch. Clear my point? Right. Exception causing statements, no statement. Again exception causing, no exception. Again exception causing, no exception causing. So if you wanted to handle the separately, then you have to write multiple try catches. So this is the story about exception handling with try catch, handling exception by using try catch, catching exception. Understand? What the purpose of try catch? Why are you catching? To stop program termination abnormally and to display user understandable message. Right. Refer. Page number 129. Page number 129. 2. One 141 in volume 1A. In volume 1A. Yeah, up to now, whatever I have explained, all points in detailed explanation is there. You have to read all these points and come tomorrow. Is it clear? Thank you. That's all for today.